When proper fighters make proper fights, it absolutely delivers. Listen, it was nip and tuck. There's a bit of back and forth. I thought Leigh Wood starts very, very well, but then Josh Warrington just was, well, his attitude tonight was absolutely exemplary. He rose to the challenge and was winning the fight. Absolutely winning the fight up to the point that he wasn't. Leigh Wood found a way in the 7th round. Just as he looked like he was out, shaking all over the place, he found a shot that stopped Josh Warrington in his tracks. And the finish is just exquisite. Leigh Wood stopping Josh Warrington in the 7th round. Yeah,
I completely agree with you, Adam. Obviously, we were watching it while we were interviewing Regis Prograis and Dakota Decheva. I had Warrington. The first round was close. It could have been a 10-10 or a 10-9. I gave it to Wood. But then I thought Warrington was plain sailing for 4 or 5 rounds. Then.
There's a few people here who have said 5-1. So is that where you're at?
Yeah, I was at 5-1. And then in the 7th... he had a point deducted. I think it's Mike Alexander, the referee, tonight.
Correct, it was.
Mike pushed Warrington back and said it was either rabbit punches or headbutts. And obviously Leigh Wood's, I think the right-hand side of his eye, his right eye was slightly cut during the fight. Warrington is a very tough, very rugged man. He was delivering everything. Leigh Wood looked exhausted and fatigued in that 7th round. Mike Alexander took a point away from Josh Warrington, who went at it again, and then suddenly, out of the southpaw stance, left, right, finish.
It was old school, wasn't it?
It was old school. Catapulted Warrington backwards, did Wood. And he was just on very, very wobbly legs. I think he was counted out on the floor anyway, wasn't he? But he wanted to carry on.
Listen, it's a solid stoppage because that's a heavy knockout.
Yeah, and I thought he'd do it in slightly later circumstances. But Leigh Wood has proven again that he has the equaliser in those hands at featherweight. What an extraordinary couple of British fighters there. What a night. I'm just really sad we weren't in the arena doing our show tonight because the atmosphere would have been coruscating.
Listen, Josh Warrington is a fantastic fighter. He's proved that this evening by doing what he did for the length of the time that the fight played out. But Leigh Wood, if you actually think about his last 4 or 5 fights, he is, in my opinion, the most exciting, active British fighter right now. He's consistently in top quality fights. It's because he keeps taking top quality fights. He keeps taking ones with serious jeopardy in there. If you remember the Michael Conlan fight, Michael Conlan was boxing his ears off for large percentages of that fight. He found a way in the last minute. Incredible night. Yes, he got chinned against Lara, but then he came back and outboxed Lara in sensational fashion as well. His performance against Kanzu, top quality. And tonight, that hit the fan. He was getting beat. And listen, we don't have the speakers to actually see or hear the atmosphere that's in there, but I've no doubt that it was absolutely electric. And the Leeds fans would have been buzzing because their guy was quite clearly winning that fight. But he found a way. There's something that Leigh Wood has inside between his ears that keeps him in a fight. He's got the power, he's got the technique, he's a very good boxer, but he's got a massive set of you-know-what, that fella. And I tell you something. If you can only go to one fight a year, go to a Leigh Wood fight because that guy's guaranteed entertainment.
He is as well. I mean, if you look at, and I think we're there for talkSPORT on the 21st of October, Dan Aziz and Joshua Boazzi in London.
Great fight.
Dan Aziz, you have to argue, is one of the most improved British boxers over the last couple of years. Leigh Wood, over the last 3 years,
unbelievable,
has propelled himself. He lost to Jazza Dickens. He lost the WBO European featherweight title in the Golden Contract event at featherweight in the semi-final at the York Hall in February 2020, and then the next 3 years after, like you say, victories over Reece Mould, won the British featherweight title, then Zhu Can, as you rightly mentioned, won the WBA regular, beat Michael Conlan in an incredible fight, lost to Mauricio Lara, then won, saved by his trainer.
Think about the mentality there. He got knocked out badly, and then he went back in and did what he did.
But not only that, did he get knocked down in the 7th round and was out of it and rescued by his corner, notably Ben Davison. He came back to fight another day and he dominated Mauricio Lara in May. It was a brilliant performance. Tonight, he had to weather a storm. He's 35 years old. I don't think he's got many more of these nights ahead of him. No. I was thinking about a super fight between he and Joe Cordina. Obviously, Cordina's got a fight coming up, but Cordina obviously is...
Would you not want to see Conlan Part 2?
Yeah, Conlan Part 2. Michael Conlan. Look at that fight. He was down early. and he stopped Conlon late. And in the middle of it
How
all...
random is this, by the way? Conlon's fighting Leigh Wood's best mate, Jordan Gill, next.
He is.
Let's hope... Jordan Gill and Leigh Wood are never going to meet each other. They'll never fight each other. But, oh my days, there's so many great fights in and around.
Yeah, I mean, there's something in the water at Gedling, clearly, with Carl Froch and Leigh Wood coming from literally the same street. It's very, very pleasing to see that tonight. I thought Leigh Wood would do it. We both did, but we thought he might do it later in the fight, and we didn't know those levels of pressure that he was going to be under from Warrington, because Warrington was like a tsunami of punches at times during that fight.
Vicious.
And as I said, just before Leigh Wood got the stoppage, or forced the stoppage with a brilliant combination of punches from the southpaw stance, as I was saying just now, 5 or 6 punches, he looked fatigued to me. His body looked like it was fatiguing, yeah.
Mate, I tell you what, that's what boxing's about. When you put good lads in and against each other, they will deliver something very, very special, and they did this evening.